I'm about to start a conversation, one that will bring more awareness, more transcendence to what how a person goes about thinking, because this is something that some people don't understand. And before I wrote it down, I didn't have the concept for my own levels. Um, I did it analogous to Dante's Inferno, of the 7 layers of resonance that I go through. Um, and I'll start with the seventh, and I'll begin to uncover these ideas of how I go about structuring my value system in my mind. And I want to be really honest, because that's how I really think. So, of course, going down to the 7th layer, Jesus said a prophet is not known in their hometown. And so this is going to be the level of mom and dad. And it's characteristic of a level of mom and dad. I don't blame mom and dad for being down on the 7th level, because uh, um, there's always a generation gap between parents and their kids. And I labeled these by levels of perception that I have within a certain realm. And I labeled the 7th realm ASD, which is Autism Spectrum Disorder, because Autism Spectrum Disorder is the way that I am seeing, how I see myself when I have to um, push around inside this fishbowl, is the idea of someone who is more aware and has more potential than the surrounding situations. Um, and this would also be Grammel as well, on the 7th layer of resonance. And it's a hot layer. Autism spectrum disorder says that in order for me to function as a human being on that level, I would need special attention put onto what I'd say. I think the capitalistic world versus the autistic world is a change in perception, and the change is necessary, because I would fall on my face with the perception that I have, living in a world um, maybe even 40 years ago. And I don't really respect a lot that has that. The awareness should be there, the timing should be there to begin to change the structure. And so anytime mom and dad, or sometimes when mom and dad and grandma show up, you can't get out of that box. You're in the 7th layer of Dante's Inferno. So the approach that I had for that would be um, the approach I had to that would be that I would go and try and get an ASD diagnosis. And it should be pretty easy with some of the things that I write down. For when I'm in a world, when I'm in the real world, the real capitalistic world, I don't feel security. I leave my doors unlocked. I have more security from having my doors unlocked, because I feel so constricted by the structure. Now, I don't think everybody gets constricted by the structure, but to me, even bouncing off of the structure gives me cognitive dissonance, because my life has caused me to ask so many powerful questions. And as I begin to evolve, I want you to know the whole strata of the way my mind works. That's essentially what I'm trying to do with this, and what levels I make my decisions on, and what order that they come in. So the sixth level of Dante's Inferno is the idea that I can get a job anywhere. This resonates with Mammy and Esther. And the idea that I can get a job anywhere would be the idea of going out and saying I'm going to work here in order to quell basic life necessities. Now, I don't want to get thrown onto an inertia because I'm not really trying to make money. What I'm trying to do is begin to express the clarity that I know I can use within a team to begin to make profound changes in the world. So the idea that I can get a job anywhere is that I can get a job anywhere. If the situations all deteriorated around me, then I would still have a sense of structure. Then again, if I would go to an employer, I wouldn't want an employee who sees them as on the sixth level of Dante's Inferno. The idea that you have a job just to have a job isn't necessarily what I think life is about. So that is the sixth level of Dante's Inferno. Then above that level is resonant with my friend Gidriff at work and all of the Walmart crowd is the idea that I can walk in and say, I'm going to college to better my life or to pursue a vision. And so to somebody who has a job, just to have a job, then you go to the next step and say, I'm pursuing a way of getting smarter. And to me, that going to college is really just a metaphor for what I know I want to do in my life, and what I know how to do, I already know how to do enough to do what I want to do. So you can sit me in 100 classrooms, and I will increase in knowledge, and I will have to do it from within that structure. So then there's the college level structure. Then there's the idea where I pick up all those are I label as EGO. The fifth level and the sixth level and the seventh level of Dante's Inferno. These are all distances to who I am as a core being, and almost like these radio stations that I'm able to tune into. And so now the fourth level of Dante's Inferno, as we're working our way out of hell, is essentially what we're doing. Is resonant with Dave Ober and life leadership. This is where I've had the need for concept, for the language of astrology, and for the idea of talking about animal totems and relating things to symbols and signs and archetypes. And that's being able to say, I'm 24 now, I'm wise, and I can reinvent the wheel. And people who will begin to work with me on that. And that's where I met Dave Olber and Life Leadership. I actually met him through the animal totem of a really beautiful moth. I met his aunt. So that then becomes the fourth strata in Dante's Inferno. And far from the seventh layer, and one more of branching out on that wavelength. So now we get to the second layer. Wait, I did that wrong. So that's the fourth layer. So now I'm going to the third layer. Now the third layer is where I want to comfortably start setting shop. And this is resonance with Chris, and this is resonance with Missy, and this is the idea of the Venus. We'll put Missy down here actually. This is resonance with the Venus project, and being able to say, I see the value in starting over and switching our current mindset to one of unified consciousness. That's where I want to play the politician. So Andrew Politician begins to operate on that strata and call it a world and call it a zone. So the third layer is where I want to begin to set up shop towards Project Neptune, which would be, yes, third is now where I see the value of the current mindset to move to one of unified consciousness, and this is resonance with Jacque Fresco and the Venus Project, and all the people and supporters of the Venus Project and Zeitgeist. And this is the layer now that becomes potent for the, I think, increased consciousness in a person. For a point of ascension. So, I'll start to use words like matrix in this level here. It'll be corresponding with the idea of the matrix and the idea of geometry. Now, into the second layer, we're already out of hell. And it is, I am a deliberate creator, I know law of attraction, I have the beliefs to do anything that I want to, and I'm on the leading edge of thought. And on the leading edge of thought, I have the concept for channeling. And what I really want to do is be a part of the most leading edge conversation on Earth, which is Abraham Hicks Publications. But then I wanted to do 7 numbers, and above Abraham Hicks is the idea of the now experience, and that is resonance with Kyle and all the Minecraft kids who have been through the samsara wheel and are reincarnations of ascended masters, and they begin to show the flaw in some of the ways. I was thinking the speed from 1 to 7 is the idea of life to death.